my dear friends. How are you? Welcome back to Raya's studio. I am Raya. Recently, a public blockchain coin has been blowing up. It has been mentioned rather frequently by the major communities and cryptocurrency bloggers. And major crypto exchanges such as Binance, FTX, Coinbase, and Huobi are also fighting to list it. The coin in question, Aptos, is one of the 3 layer 1 public blockchains we're talking about today. It shot from $1 to $100 on launch day, before it fell back down. The other 2 public blockchains we'll be discussing today are Sway and Linera. So, why are Aptos, Sway, and Linera labeled as layer 1 blockchains? This is where Meta, formerly known as Facebook, comes in. As most of you may know, Meta has always been ambitious about joining the blockchain, which resulted in them announcing the start of their crypto project in 2019. DM, also known formerly as Libra. DM is a blockchain-based stablecoin payment system proposed by Meta, and the expectations for it were high from the moment it appeared on the market. At that time, lots of bigwigs believed that DM would become a supergiant in various fields such as social media, e-commerce, shared transportation, music, travel, and payment. The system was independently and cryptographically entrusted to DM, a membership organization of companies that specialize in payments, technology, telecommunications, venture capital, and nonprofits, among others. DM partners include Visa, MasterCard, eBay, Shopify, Anchorage, Coinbase, Ribbit Capital, A16Z, Union Square Ventures, Mercy Corp, Uber, Lyft, and more. However, DM is a project that has drawn strong opposition from government regulators in the EU, US, and other countries due to issues of monetary sovereignty, financial stability, privacy, and antitrust. Afterwards, DM, which was scheduled to launch in 2020, went through several turmoil such as a name change and suspension, before being sold away in January 2022. This also meant the end of Meta's cryptocurrency dream. But DM left many important technical legacies behind, and most importantly, a new programming language, Move. Move is a programming language based on Rust, developed by Meta specifically for the DM blockchain. Move is a smart contracts language made for manipulating digital assets, with the goal of becoming Web3's JavaScript, allowing more developers to quickly build blockchain products. The GitHub codebase for Move is currently managed primarily by Myson Labs. Key team members from Aptos and Sway were once part of Move's core development team. Meanwhile, Matthew Baudet, the founder of Linera, was previously an engineer at Meta and helped create the DM blockchain alongside the others. Therefore, the 3 public chains, Aptos, Sway, and Linera, are also referred to as Meta public blockchains. Although Ethereum is still the king of L1 public blockchains amongst the current selection, there are many competitors trying to catch up. BNB, Sol, Cosmos, Near, etc. are all very strong contenders. And Aptos, Sway, and Linera have brought new things into the L1 public blockchains. Now, let's compare the 3 public blockchains. Let's start with the founding teams. Aptos co-founder and CTO, Avery Ching, a former lead software engineer at Facebook for over 10 years and was previously the technical lead of the Novi team, the original Meta-owned encryption platform. Next, Sway's development team were formerly from Myson Labs, where CEO Evan Cheng served as Director of Engineering Technology for the development of the Meta blockchain from 2018 until September of this year. And finally, Linera, which was founded later compared to the other 2 projects. Linera's founder, Matthew Baudet, a former engineer at Meta who helped create the DM blockchain. As the lead researcher and engineer at Novi, he was a central figure in the invention of FastPay and ZEF. In terms of teams, I believe that Aptos and Sway have the upper hand for now. Next, let's look at the financing. Currently, Aptos has had 2 rounds of funding, raising approximately $350 million. With investments from FTX Ventures, Jump Crypto, A16Z, Tiger Global, Multicoin Capital, Coinbase Ventures, Binance Labs, PayPal, etc. Sway also had 2 rounds of funding, raising approximately $200 million from investors such as A16Z, Coinbase Ventures, NFX, Slow Ventures, Scribble Ventures, Samsung Next, Lux Capital, among others. Linera has had 1 round of funding, raising $6 million from A16Z, Signy Capital, Kima Ventures and Tribe Capital. In terms of investors, A16Z has decided to invest in all 3 public blockchains. Meanwhile, Coinbase is obviously more bullish on Aptos and Sway, and Binance has invested in only Aptos. Therefore, with a look at their financial situation and the organization behind each company, it seems that Aptos over Sway over Linera. In terms of programming language and execution model, Aptos uses the Move language and has designed and implemented an efficient, multi-threaded, in-memory parallel execution engine. By using BlockSTM, transactions are predefined within blocks and divided between processor threads to be executed. During the process, transactions are executed under the assumption that there is no affiliation. After the memory location modified by the transaction is recorded and executed, the results of all transactions are verified. During the validation process, if a transaction is found to have accessed a memory location that has been modified by a previous transaction, that transaction is then invalidated. The result of that transaction is refreshed and then re-executed. This process repeats until all transactions in the block have been executed. Using a different version of the Move language, Sway's smart contracts ensure standardization and security. Sway provides scalability and unprecedented low latency for simple use cases, enabling most transactions to be processed simultaneously. This makes better use of processing resources and provides the option to increase throughput by adding more resources. Sway abandons consensus in favor of simpler, lower latency primitives for simple use cases such as payment transactions and asset transfers. This is unprecedented in the blockchain world, supporting a range of new latency-sensitive distributed applications from gaming to physical point-of-sale retail payments. Linera uses Rust, which is different from both Aptos and Sway. Still in its early stages of development, Linera founder Matthew Baudet, a principal researcher and engineer at Novi, was also central to the invention of the FastPay and ZEF. Both protocols accelerate transactions by completely removing memory pools and minimizing interactions between verifiers, and Linera will continue to build on both. In the technical domain, Linera promotes the implementation of linear scaling. The linear model in Linera allows you to double the capacity of the system by doubling the number of machines. This way, you can scale by adding new processing units to each validator, thus eliminating the theoretical throughput limit. Linera does not yet have a mature application. Therefore, they are not comparable in this aspect as of now. Now, let's look at their innovative applications. Aptos provides rotatable SK that can be actively changed to help reduce the risk of private key leakage, remote attacks, and future cracking of existing cryptographic algorithms. This key management scheme of Aptos is on-chain, and more open and transparent than some other secret key recovery schemes such as cloud-based backup and social recovery. Aptos is also used to provide protection against transaction viability through account serial numbers. A serial number can only be submitted once for each sender's account, and if a sender finds that the serial number of their account greater than or equal to the serial number of transaction T, then T has already been submitted, or T will never be submitted, because the serial number used by T is already occupied by another transaction. Finally, pre-signature enables transaction transparency. Aptos provides a transaction pre-execution service that can visually show the user the result of a transaction before the user signs it. This transaction pre-execution service is combinable with known attacks and malicious smart contracts and can greatly reduce the risk of fraud to the user. In addition to this, Aptos allows the wallet to impose restrictions on transactions during execution, and transactions that violate the restrictions will be terminated, further preventing users from being attacked by malicious programs. Sway maintains a low gas mechanism that keeps gas fees low and predictable, while incentivizing verifiers to optimize transaction processing and prevent denial of service (DoS) attacks. Predictable gas results in predictable transactions being processed. Gas prices can remain low even during periods of high activity because its throughput can scale linearly with more machines per verifier. Verifiers can add more machines accordingly to meet increased network demand, whereas traditional blockchains are typically designed to run on a single machine per verifier, or even on a single CPU. Storage costs are paid separately from transaction execution, so that economic optimization can be achieved. Linera started later than the other two, but according to the information revealed by Linera, Linera's advantages can be broadly summarized as censorship resistance, low latency, linear unfolding, fast transaction speed, solving the blockchain trilemma, hiding the value of payments, and hiding the relationship between sender and receiver. Overall, my current evaluation of these three public chains is Aptos 4-star new coin, Sway 4-star new project, Linera 3-star new project. Finally, we want to talk about the instability of the newly launched Aptos. 1. Overvaluation. As a new chain that has just launched, it was bombed to $100 by the capitalists, although it fell back to $10 after shooting up. But for Aptos with 1 billion tokens, the fact that it still has a value of about $10 billion after falling off still makes it really high. In my opinion, I think that it should have been around $500 million, which is a more reasonable price for a bear market. 2. High overlap between developers and Solana. According to statistics, in the Aptos development community of more than 340 developers, about 300 people are from Solana, a high degree of overlap in personnel, making Aptos look more like a replica of Solana. This is a very big uncertainty for whether Aptos can come up with a more innovative system. 3. According to the developers, Aptos has a number of operational and technical problems. Aptos has no community operations and no license-free verifiers. All 101 verifiers are hand-picked by Aptos Labs, and verifiers must sign an arbitration agreement in the Cayman Islands to be included. Uses a false proof-of-stake consensus mechanism, which is only used for economics and not security, because investors like POS due to it being easier to maintain higher token prices if most of the circulating supply is locked, which can lead to a few dozen private keys or even less to stop the network or take over the network with some transactions. Inability to share interests across mining pools. Aptos BFTV4 is just DMBFTV4 renamed, using the hot stuff algorithm. This means that network performance can degrade rapidly if there are some slow verifiers, which is another reason why Aptos must closely control its verifier set. To sum up, for new coins, there is no need to invest in a hurry. Wait until the frenzy is over and hold for a while before deciding. Well, that's it for today's show. If you'd like to see more reviews from me, please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching my show. This show only represents personal opinion and does not constitute any investment advice. We will see you next time.